Eric Whitacre, you're an American composer. You came here to Cambridge 3 years ago, and I'm wondering, how big was John Tavener in America, for example?
Absolutely, especially amongst choristers, which is where I spend most of my time, among choral singers. And everyone knows the great piece, The Lamb, as we spoke about before. It's certainly a standard in the repertoire. But even more than that, I'd say John Tavener and maybe on an equal footing, Arvo Pärt, are who we associate with holy minimalism and this kind of music that is unique to these two composers.
It's about very long-held chords and strange cadences, which are rooted both in sort of classical music of the past, but also kind of veering out into modernism.
Yeah, that's it. It's Dr. David Skinner, who is the music director at Sydney Sussex at Cambridge, and a dear friend of mine, once described to me the music of Tallis and Bird as inducing a sense of twilight in the listener. And I feel that way about John Tavener. In some ways, he brought it back after hundreds of years, brought back this tradition of inducing twilight, a sense of weightlessness and timelessness in the listener.
A kind of music for the ending of the day?
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way to say it. A music for that space between consciousness and subconsciousness.
But that's interesting because in a way that explains his music at Diana's funeral, for example.
Yeah, perfectly placed, actually. And I'll never forget watching that funeral on television, as I'm sure hundreds of millions of people did. And it was music of genuine sorrow, perfect for the time.
I was a chorister, and when I first heard Tavener, I thought he was possibly even the other Tavener. There was a much earlier medieval Tavener who lived at the time of Tallis and Bird.
That's correct, John Tavener.
And I thought, goodness, this is wonderful music. And then I realized the man was alive and writing it now. Is that an absurd thing?
No, not at all. And in fact, John Tavener, the one who just passed today, claimed to be a direct descendant of John Tavener, the Renaissance composer. And I absolutely hear, if not exactly in style, as you said, it's always got just a bit of a harmonic twist on it. There will be dissonances that are unresolved where the holy minimalists like Pärt and Tavener will stay for a moment in that dissonance and not let it resolve.
That's what is the real skill, because you don't feel that you've heard it before. It's not as if he's rehashed something, and yet it feels accessible and yet going somewhere you've never been before.
That's it. I always think of it as writing, it's writing poetry in an ancient language. So the words are all familiar, they're well known, the tropes of the poetic language are familiar, but they're relevant now in a completely new and startling way.
Eric Whitacre, thank you very much for talking to us about Sir John Tavener.
Truly my pleasure and an honor. Thank you.